Hello and welcome to Fantasy Premier League, the D in its view. I'm back today with my co-host Alan. How are you, Alan?
I'm really well. I'm in my new Palace shirt. Yeah, really, really good. It's a beautiful day in London, so very happy.
Fantastic. That's what we love to hear. Now, Alan, I believe you've got a story about this guy.
Yeah, so Andy, I met him. I was watching FPL videos when I first started playing FPL, and I watched a few, and I watched Andy's videos, and I really liked him. I just liked he was just really down to earth, really good content, and I used to watch him like most Sunday mornings and stuff. And then one day when I was working in the city, I came out of Tube Station and I bumped into him, and it was so random because from watching his videos, he lives in Ireland. So I was just like, Andy, what are you doing here? And yeah, started chatting to him, got a little photo. I was a bit starstruck, and then I was chatting to him on Twitter, and he gave me some advice on my team, and that was back in when Lukaku was playing at Chelsea, and he said to me, I think I had too many premium people in or something like that, and he gave me a bit of advice, which I didn't listen to and didn't do very well. So there you go. But he's a good guy, really good guy.
Far out. No way. That's such a mad story. I can't believe you just met him on the tube. That's just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it was it's so random. I mean, it's not like he's this big Hollywood celebrity or something like that. But it was just I was watching his videos. I was really into it. So for me, it was like this big thing. I was like, oh my god, Andy, I can't believe it. And I think he was a little bit lost. So I gave him some directions, and I think he was meeting up with another YouTuber going somewhere. But I don't know. We'll take it. We'll send it to him, and he can give us some feedback.
That's it. I mean, if we just need to get on board and grow the channel. But yeah, look, that leads into a great segue. Make sure, if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe, because that's only going to help us beat Andy in the long term. And I reckon our content's a bit better because we've got some banner going on here as well. Now, on to this week's fixtures. Now, Alan, last week we looked at your team. And
Yeah.
I unfortunately the audio wasn't in the clip last week, but you scored 65, and for the third week in a row, you sat there hoping that halaand wasn't going to dominate. And what happened, Alan?
Yeah, look, it was a shocker. I tried to do a differential, didn't I? I tried to be clever and captain Muniz, and I thought, you know what, it could help me, and I could get maybe a boost up the tables. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for me like that. So I ended up getting 65 points. Salah helped me out a little bit with 17. But look, if I'd captained him and played it safe, then I'd be in a better position than I am now. But do you know what? That was last week. That was so last week. So this week we're ready to go again. I'm not going to try and be clever. I'm just going to stick to the stats and play it how it should be played.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it was funny because obviously Muniz, your captain last week, just yeah. I think it's safe to say. Obviously, you've sat there, looked at this team, and thought, I need to make some changes. And bringing in halaand, I believe, has been at the top of your list. How have you done that, Alan?
Yeah. So with great difficulty, I had to make some changes, big changes. I mean, it wasn't something that I could do in sort of one or two transfers just because he's so expensive. So I've changed my team around quite a bit. So I don't know if you're going to share it or if you want me to go through it. But I think it should be all right for next week. So, but look, we'll see. But he's in. So hopefully no more red arrows or big red arrows anyway.
That's it. Now, I am showing your team, Alan, that you've gone to. You hopefully have got it on your screen now as well. Can you talk us through what you've done with your wildcard? And you are joining one of 600,000 odd people that have actively got their wildcard. I think it's one of the biggest ever wildcard weeks. So talk us through it, Alan.
So first things first, I brought in Haaland. But look, starting at the back, let's start off with the back. So brought in Raya. The reason I brought in Raya is because I think he's a solid keeper. I think the Arsenal defence is good. They were great last year. I would have loved to have had the Liverpool keeper in there, but I've already got 3 Liverpool. So that's why I went for Raya. Gahey at the back. I really like him. I think he's solid. I think that the Palace defence is good. I went for Dunk, an experienced defender. He's got a good fixture this coming game week with Ipswich, so hopefully they don't sort of score too many goals. And then Robertson, solid defender, and sometimes gets a couple attacking points as well. He's not done a lot recently, but who knows? He could get a goal and an assist. And he's got a great fixture against Forest.
I love that defence, and just to cut in, I think that the Brighton players, I've seen you've tripled up, I've sort of given it away a little bit, but you've tripled up on Brighton and Liverpool. I think the Liverpool triple up's brilliant. The Brighton one, I've got a few question marks about it, only because of the fact that their fixtures aren't so flash after the next couple of game weeks, and then they have a good run a little bit later on, which is why I haven't bought any Brighton players in yet. But I'm happy for you to continue talking through your midfield now.
Yeah, well, look, I think, yes, their fixtures coming up in the long run aren't great, but, I think that Minta and Pedro, I think there's points. I think there's points next week. I think there's points the week after that. They've got Ipswich and Forest. So it's an opportunity for me to claw back some well-needed points. And look, I can make adjustments later on. I can swap them out and bring in some other people. So that's what's going on with the sort of Brighton thinking. I brought in Jota. Jota's great. I mean, he's got a great fixture against Forest. Hopefully he's playing. And he's not getting put on the bench or something like that. Eze, really, really solid. Obviously, I've got to have Palace in there, since I'm a Palace supporter. Salah, I've actually gone for captain on Salah. All this chat about Haaland, but I'm actually going to captain Salah because I think that's the better fixture. I think him against Forest, I think he's going to get some good returns. And yeah, up front, Pedro, Jackson, and Haaland. I mean, Chelsea need to do something, and I think that Jackson could be the man to do it, to get a couple of goals. Haaland, well, he speaks for himself, then he's a machine.
He is definitely a machine, and I'm not surprised that you played your wild card. I know that another one of my mates, Darren, is probably sitting there watching. No, I'm holding faith because I didn't pick him for a reason. But I think if he sits there and he keeps on putting hat tricks on you, then you're pretty stubborn not to just throw the wild card in and just make the change. Everyone that literally hasn't had him is getting burnt. I think his owner percentage from now, I'll just quickly check it. I believe that his owner percentage is through the roof as well. Let's have a look. So he's currently owned by 67.2% of the competition. So if you haven't got him and he keeps on scoring, you're going to be up shit creek without a paddle, really.
100% you're up that creek. And, look, there's lots of other players that I could have brought in. I would have loved to have had Trent in, but he's just too expensive. When you've got Haaland and Salah, you've got to find money somewhere. So, I would have loved to have had him. I would have had to have, I know we talked about it the other week, Gvardiol. It would have been nice to have him. I think he'll probably come good. Other sacrifices in midfield, we spoke about it, Palmer. Palmer's great. Saka's great. So I had to make them sacrifices. It would have been lovely to have them in my team. But unfortunately, if you want Haaland and Salah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's it. Now, quickly talk us through your bench and why you've gone with these players on your bench.
Well, look, we spoke about it before. Rodgers, I think he's great. I think Rodgers is a great option. And Flecken, Flecken was my goalie before. He's just a cheap keeper that's going to be getting minutes. So, that's why he's there. I had to go for a real cheap defender, hence the Ipswich one. I don't think he's that bad. Probably the best out of the bunch. My last one, Konza. I think Konza's done well. They've got Everton. Everton have been pretty poor. So if I do have people in my main team that aren't playing, hopefully, like for example, Jota, if Jota doesn't play, and Rodgers should be, so he'd get some good minutes. And if something drastic happens with another defender, I think that Konza should be pretty solid against Everton. They scored a couple of goals, but they haven't looked great, have they?
Brilliant. I think that you're bang on the money there. Now, I've looked at your team, and obviously for the viewers there, this is a big game week. I'm actually taking the -4 this week. I'll get to my trades that I have confirmed in a little bit, but it's a big week because me and Alan play each other in our head-to-head league, And obviously, when you're taking a -4 into the game week and Alan's using his wild card, you'd think he's got a pretty good advantage. Well, let's hope you've got the advantage, because if you don't win on the wild card week, you might as well put your team in the bin, don't you reckon, Alan?
Yeah, you did. You did say that, so no pressure. No pressure. I'm confident though. Look, I chose the team. I'm backing the team. I think that I'm going to be in for some solid points. I want 100 points this week. Definitely 87 plus. 87 plus.
Yeah, well, looking at your team, I actually think you're a strong chance of getting 100 points this week. Just looking at the lineups, you've picked 2 Crystal Palace players and they've got Leicester at home, a promoted team. You would think that they're going to hopefully deliver for you. And then you've got the triple up on Brighton. And the only question mark I'd have on the Brighton selection that you've got in this team for this game week is João Pedro. And the only reason why I raise him is because he had the late kickoff for Brazil on Wednesday night or Thursday morning, whenever it was. So he might actually start on the bench. Well, I'll certainly be hoping he starts on the bench this game week.
Do you know what? See, this is the thing. You're a pro FPL player. I'm probably not much in the know with these things. So I was just looking at the fixture and his form, and that's why I went through it. So I'm hoping he starts, but let's see if you're right.
Yeah, so look, the other pick, Nicholas Jackson is a really interesting pick. Now, I'm going to quickly pull up my team that I'm going with for the game week, just so everyone can see what I'm doing. So the 2 trades that I made were, I got rid of Kulusevski for Tottenham because he's got a hard fixture against Arsenal, and I don't really know where he's going to be playing because he's been very hit and miss, and I can't be putting up with misses. And I'm one of the people that's jumped off the Isak bandwagon. Now, the reason why I've jumped off the Isak bandwagon is because I really wanted the Villa players in. And now I know that you've currently got rid of Ollie Watkins, but I've done the opposite. I've brought him in because, and I know that he's got a yellow mark over his head. And I tell you what, if he's injured, I might have to wild card. But he's had that the whole time, and he obviously didn't play for England. But his next 3 game weeks, he's got Everton, Wolves, Ipswich. And if there's a time for Ollie Watkins to hit form, it's definitely now. And I feel like if he hits form against Everton, and Everton have been shipping goals left, right, and centre, then...
Especially towards the end of the game.
Yeah, 87 minutes on. Watch out.
They just open the floodgate. They just open up. They're just like, yeah, you can just score now. It's fine. We've given up. We're tired. I think they just get tired.
Yeah, I don't know. They're like the United defence. Leaky is a sinking ship when it comes past 90 minutes. I can tell you that much. But yeah. I've gone for Ollie Watkins mainly because of the fact that he's got to turn good. And if he turns good now, his price will inevitably go up because obviously they've got such a great run of fixtures coming up. Wolves and Ipswich to come, and then they've got United at home. So United ship goals away from home. They're a crap travelling team. So you'd think he'd just carry on. And then he really hasn't got a bad game fixture until game week 10. So hopefully by then he's made the points, and that's the reason why I'm taking a -4.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, part of my thinking as well with getting with the bench was getting those Aston Villa players in because they do have such a good run. So, look, I think it will sum up my FPL season so far if Watkins gets a hat-trick against Everton this weekend and, haaland doesn't get anything. I mean, that would just be perfect. That would just be perfect for you, Darius. And I'm sure you'll be, basking in the glory.
I tell you what, there'll be one person that will be basking in the glory if that does happen, is Darren, because I'm pretty sure he has Watkins and Isak and he's gone without Haaland, so he'll be hoping for them both to pop off. I could almost see that potentially for me, I've been a bit like the same boat as you. Isak he scored a double in the last international match for Sweden, and he could take that form into Wolves away, who we know already conceded 6 at home to Chelsea in their last home game. So it could also come back to bite me on the arse.
Yeah. Well, look, it's FPL. You never know what's going to happen. I think from my experience at the start of this season, you need to just not overthink it too much. And you want to make it fun. So you want to go with your gut sometimes. Because nothing. No matter looking at the stats, it's never always right. Like you would expect lots of players to get returns, but you want to make it fun. You want to go with your gut, but there's certain things I think you'd be silly not to do, and that is what I didn't start, which is betting against Haaland. Silly, because in a way you have to do what the masses are doing, because if you don't, you're either going to be right down the bottom or you're going to go right up to the top. But it's that risk, and you can't take risk every week. So I think I've played my risky cards now. I've done my gambles. Now it's time to play safe. But let's see what happens. Because there's lots of other players in there that can get lots of points. Like we spoke about Palmer, Saka, Haaland, Salah. There are lots of big players that can get points. So I don't think you have to rely just on Haaland.
Yeah, and I think that's the difficulty, is trying to balance your team out. Now, obviously, I've got Trent in my team and Pedro Porro, and you've got Robertson and a few other. You've got a few other bargain basement. You've actually gone quite cheap in defence across the board, which that means you can spend more money in the midfield, and it just depends on whether it works out or whether it doesn't at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think defensively at the moment, Liverpool looks strong. You've got to probably have a bit of Liverpool defence in there. Midfield, you want a Saka, a Salah, or a Palmer. And up front, you've got to have Haaland, really. I mean, you've got to have him in there. And if you haven't got him in there, then you've got to have a couple of premiums in your midfield to offset that. Because if he's banging in hat-tricks, you need to get a couple of them getting goals. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Now, the other interesting thing is obviously a lot of people haven't actually got Salah in, but a lot of people have actually been wildcarding to get Salah in. Now, he's up to 43.2%, and he's also risen up to 12.7 million now as well. So, the people that started both of them, like me, have probably been riding the coattails pretty nicely towards the top of their leagues. But unfortunately, it's now getting to the point of the season where to get up into the very top part of the rankings, you've got to start coming up with those differentials. And each week it's becoming, a lot of luck does come involved. I mean, Aston Villa could pump 6 past Everton and Rodgers could get a double and Watkins could get a hat-trick, and all of a sudden I'm shooting straight up. But it could go the other way and they do nothing and they get 1 point each and get a yellow card each.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think people like Wood. I think Wood could be a good option. He could be a differential. Trying to think of some others that could be differentials. I mean, a lot of people know all the, your usual suspects are the Sakas, the Palmers, the Salahs. And it's like, well, it's a bit of luck in terms of who you've got really on any particular week. I think the Haaland owners have done well the first couple and the Salah owners, but what's going to happen for the next few weeks? Because there will be players that will come out the woodwork, that will just get some really good hauls. I remember Gallagher done it when he was at Palace a couple of seasons ago. I brought him in just because I liked the way he was playing. He didn't have many returns, but I just liked the way he was playing, really attacking. And then for the next few weeks, he was just getting all these hauls and then went up in price, but that really helped me go up the charts. And I think that playing this game, you can't just go on the points. You need to do the eye test. You need to watch the games. You need to see the way these people are moving, because there's lots of opportunities that people miss sometimes, and the points don't always reflect potentially what they can do in a game. So I think you have to do the eye test, and that's how you'll get those differential players in your team.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, a lot of people, I was listening to the FPL pod earlier on today, and Jules has also played his wild card because he wanted to get Salah in. So he actually played it not to get Haaland in, but he played it to get Salah in. And he's actually bought in Semenyo from Bournemouth, who looks like one of the steals of the season at 5.6 million.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he looks great, and Mbeumo as well.
Yeah, now I really like him in Mbeumo. So I'm just going to pull up his information. Now, the reason why I've held up on this, and I've got a couple of... Diego Jota is actually in the firing line for me, and there's a reason, there's a method to my madness. So my aim is hopefully to play my wild card at the next international break. And I think I might have momentarily lost Alan, so I'm just going to keep on talking to this while hopefully he comes back. And yeah, he's just coming back now. And so the main reason why I'm not going for Mbeumo is because of the fact that he's got City away this week, and then he's got Tottenham at home, and his fixtures really open up from game week 6 onwards. Now, and so does Arsenal's fixtures. Now, the reason why I believe, Alan, you probably don't have any Arsenal players in your team either is because of the fact that Arsenal's fixtures for the next couple are also a little tricky.
Yeah. I mean, I've got Raya. I've got Raya in goal.
Yeah, that's fair. But you don't have any of the attacking players.
No.
See, my line of thinking, and I said this last week on the pod, was the fact that Arsenal's fixture doesn't really open up until game week 9. It doesn't. What am I on about? Game week 12 is when it really opens up. Game week 9 is when it gets a bit tricky because they've got Liverpool, Newcastle, and Chelsea. Now, I want to talk about fixture-proof teams. What teams do you consider fixture-proof? Like, it doesn't matter who they're playing.
Liverpool.
Yep.
Man City.
Yep.
See, I would say Arsenal to a degree. I mean, I think they've lost Odegaard at the moment. I would say those three, really. I don't really think there's anyone else that I would say is fixture-proof apart from them three. I think they're solid bets. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that those three teams are the ones. I suppose for the Arsenal defence, now it does concern me. International breaks obviously bring injuries, and there was a big injury to Martin Odegaard of Arsenal. Now, how that impacts the team and the creativity in the team is going to be interesting to watch over the next couple of weeks, depending on whether he's going to be out for a substantial amount of time or just like a week or two. Because I think they
said 6 weeks, or the was it not? The Norwegian whatever medic coach, whatever they said like 6 weeks apparently, but he's come back to London for scans, so who knows?
I know those scans are going to be very interesting to note because at the end of the day, he's either going to be. And I just can't see how Arsenal play the same way without him. I mean, it's going to put more pressure on Saka. It means Havertz is probably going to have to drop deeper into their midfield because they've also got no Rice this week as well, which makes me think that, Tottenham might be able to get a hold of him.
Yeah, I mean, Son might be able to do some stuff. He hasn't really done a lot, has he? So maybe that could be a differential. You've got Son in, is he going to get you a load of points in a haul? Could be a good bet. I mean, definitely no risk from me. I'm playing it safe, but somebody out there that's sitting pretty, they might want to think about that.
Now, I want to know why. This is going to be a very interesting question because they're both the same amount of money. So Diego Jota is 7.6 mil. Why did you go him over Luis Diaz, who's also 7.6?
Do you know what? It was a tough choice, and I just went with my gut. I just went with my gut, and I thought I'd go with Jota. So it could backfire him, in my face, but I just went with my gut. Yeah, I like Jota. Why? What would you have done?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking why you went with Jota over Diaz, because obviously Diaz has had the better form the last 2 game weeks, but Jota had the better form the opening game week. The only concern I've got is that Darwin Núñez has been sitting at Liverpool's training ground for the last 2 weeks, and the others have both been playing international games. So That's the other thing you've got to take into account. The other thing I want to talk about is on this list here, we can see that Onana at 5.1 million for Aston Villa is also the same price as Rodgers. Why did you go Rodgers instead of Onana?
Because I don't like Onana. I like Rodgers. I think, and Rodgers got better fixtures coming out. He's got a great run, and also because I took Watkins out, so I was like, I need to, if Aston Villa go on a madness, then I need to get some points. So that's why.
No, that's very fair, very very fair indeed. Good. That was the main reason why I went as well, only because of the fact that I think Rodgers expected goals and assists. The eye test, as you said before, when you're watching Villa. Onana gets that one chance, and if it wasn't for that one chance, he doesn't score. But whereas Rodgers looks like he's involved in the build-up play, looks like he's getting into those positions, it should just be a matter of time before he starts delivering some points.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, that's what I'm praying for.
Yeah, so looking ahead to the next couple of game weeks, the couple of players that I want to flag that have done nothing so far, but have had great international breaks. So Bruno Fernandes has scored and he's assisted.
You
He's
still
dropped in
flogging
price.
this horse. You're still flogging this Fernandez horse. Go on, then. Let's hear it.
So my line of thinking is because I've got 0.9 million in the bank, right? I can turn Diego Jota into Bruno Fernandes. Now, the other brilliant part of this is that hopefully it doesn't change the price. Hopefully Bruno doesn't go ham on against Southampton, then I have to start making trades super quick. But the other thing is then I can then free up a Liverpool spot and then turn that into a second Liverpool defender. And as you said before, I would like to have Trent and Robertson because I think that those two combined could be really good, solid defensive picks. I feel like Liverpool this year is the Arsenal of last year, and they're players for defenders. You've got to get amongst it.
100%. I'm with you on that one. 100%. And I think the thing with Trent is, look, he can get assists, he's just so involved in it. Like Trent and Robertson is what you want. I would have loved to have had them both, but I just couldn't afford it. But yeah, I think actually that's a really good move if you can do that.
So yeah, that's my line of thinking moving forward. Now, on to the captains. Now, we have both selected the same captain. We're both backing in Mo Salah at home against Nottingham Forest. Now, why have you picked him over Haaland? What's your reasoning?
I just think it's a better fixture. I think Forest isn't as strong as Brentford. Haaland's had back-to-back hat-tricks. Is he going to get another hat-trick? I just can't. I mean, if he does, amazing, well done. But I just can't see it. And I think that they're all going to be over Haaland. They're going to be literally like just man marking him, like he's the danger man. We need to get all about him. And I think the defense that Brentford have is stronger than the other teams that he's been up against. And I just think that it's just a slightly better fixture to have Salah against Forest.
All right, now quickly, we're just going to quickly go through the fixtures for everyone at home and tell the viewers what we think is going to happen. Now, Southampton against Man United, early kickoff. What's going to happen now?
2-0 Man United, 2-1 Man United, something like that.
Do you know the history says this will be a 1-1 draw?
Right, okay. Well, I mean, if they draw against Southampton, then it's toast for Man United.
Ten Hag will be on the exit door, mate. That's all will happen. They'll be right.
Yeah, he'll be gone.
Brighton against Ipswich. Surely a Brighton win?
Brighton win 3-0.
Yeah, I think you could be right. I think that's where you're going to beat me this week is in that fixture. I'm dreading that fixture.
I want Brighton to go to town. I want them to go to town, baby. I need lots of goals.
And the next one is just as bad for me. Crystal Palace against Leicester is also a fixture I'm dreading this week. What do you reckon is going to happen there?
There's a hat-trick, clean sheet, 3-0.
Oh, I bloody well hope not. Fulham against West Ham.
I need Vardy to behave himself.
Yeah. Fulham against West Ham. I'm hoping for a Fulham thumping here so that way I can get some points back.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think Fulham are the favourites on this one. I think they'll do it. I think that Fulham. Do you know what will happen? Muniz will get a couple of goals. Muniz will get 2 goals, and it'll be like I reckon it'll be a 2-1. I think Bowen will get a goal. Muniz will get 2, and it'll be a 2-1.
I reckon you could be right. Liverpool against Nottingham Forest. How many goals are in this game?
Banking. 5-0. I'm going big. 5-6-0. I want them to go to town.
Salah hat-trick.
Yeah, Salah hat-trick. Diego Jota goal. Robertson assist. Yeah.
Trent free kick.
Yeah. No joke.
Man City against Brentford. Is it going to be another Haaland hat-trick or is it just going to be a low-scoring game?
Not a Haaland hat-trick. Probably something like a 3-1, 3-1. Maybe a 3-2. I think Mbomo gets a goal. Wissa maybe. And a Haaland maybe 1. Haaland 1 goal, right? A penalty. Mbomo a goal. And Wissa a goal. And then, would you think he'll play Foden?
Well, he's had 2 weeks off. I'd say if he's fit, he's probably playing.
Foden, 2 goals.
Yep.
There you go.
Aston Villa against Everton. Surely a Villa thumping.
A Villa thumping, absolutely. Everton don't have a chance. And I hope that Watkins isn't playing. I hope he's sitting on the bench, all snuggled and comfy, watching the game, resting. Rodgers gets a golden assist. But I think that could be a 3-0. I think it could be a 3-0, 2-0, something like that.
Bournemouth, Chelsea. I reckon Bournemouth are a sneaky chance of an upset here.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think you're right. 2-2. A late goal for Semedo, like he done against Everton.
Could be a goer. Spurs against Arsenal.
Arsenal for the win, I think. Arsenal for the win, or maybe a draw.
I reckon this could be a 2-2 draw. I don't know why. I just got a feeling 2-2. And the last game of the round, Wolves against Newcastle.
Newcastle all day long.
Newcastle all day long.
Yeah, Newcastle all day long. 3-0.
3-0. I'm actually going to go the opposite. I reckon Wolves are going to upset them 1-0.
Interesting. We'll have to listen back to this and see who was right. I've gone very high with my goals this week. I don't know.
You have. You're going for a very high scoring round.
It's really bright and sunny, and I think maybe the sun's got to my head.
You want that 100 points this week.
Yeah. I want lots of goals. I want action-packed goals. That's what I want.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end for this week. Make sure that you tune in for next week to see who won out of me and Alan, whether the Wildcard squad flunked and the -4 route to the victory or the other way around. Alan,
come on the SW1611.
Come on the route to forget United. See you later, everyone.
See ya.